Hello everybody. How are you doing? I hope you guys having an amazing weekend so far. It's Saturday. Happy Saturday. But it sucks for me because one more time again, I'm on my way to work. I really don't complain, but I do wish that I could take a day off and, enjoy time with friends and family and stuff. But because I got ambitions and I would rather make more money to make my dream come true back in Congo. Therefore, uh, I mean, let's get that out of the way. I don't have to work this overtime that I've been working for the past couple of weeks now, but I want to. I want to. Why does socializing or spending time with friends, how does that benefit me? How does that, you know, make my bank account look better than it is right now? Okay. But if I go to work, I make money and eventually I reach my goals. Hopefully, I'm not dead by then. I'll still be alive to socialize as much as I want to, right? I'll still spend time with family and friends and all of that good stuff. But for now, I'm just gonna do what I believe is best for me. And yes. All right, everybody, welcome to the channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit the like button and let me know where you're tuning in from, and I will really appreciate it. In this video, in this live stream, you read the title. Very self-explanatory. It's cut and dry. How do Africans live in America? So let's get into it. All right, and why most of them would rather move back to Africa. That is the topic of today. I feel in a much better position to talk about this issue because of what I'm thinking, right? And if you stick around, you will see where my head is at with all of this stuff. So without wasting any more of your time, I know your time is very precious. Let's go straight to it. You guys, you know that I talk about investments, right? Investing in Africa and all of that good stuff. But before we get into it, let's get the elephant out of the room. There is no such thing as perfect. It's never been a perfect place in this world. America is a great country. It presents greater opportunities. But the United States is not perfect. Where I come from, the Democratic Republic of Congo, it is a fantastic country filled with unlimited amount of natural resources, great view, great scenery, great nature. But Congo is not perfect. So is Europe, so is many, many, many places in the world. But the thing is, we make choices depending on what suits us best. If you go to a place, you like the place, you stay there. No matter what the objective that you are trying to get out of that place, you make that your home, right? So I just happen to come to the United States of America. Here I am, I'm working here. But I can't speak about other people. But I feel entitled to discuss African issues and African lifestyle here in America because I have African friends from different countries, not only from Congo, that I spend time with. We get together, we tell each other stories about places we come from. And I know how they feel about America, how they feel about Africa, and most of them would rather go back to Africa. But let's talk about that for a second. Why would they want to go back to Africa? Number one, because they came to America with the mindset that this is a perfect country that once you set foot here in the United States of America, that's it. The land of opportunities, your life is a whole lot better. You don't need to go back to Africa. You don't need to go anywhere else but stay here in the United States of America. That is the kind of mindset that a lot of Africans move to America too, right? For, and the moment they get here, they realize that it is nothing like what they see on television, and that real life here dictates that if you come from Africa and you have a master's degree or a criminal, whatever degree, you're an engineer, it's not gonna matter here. You're going to start from the bottom. We may argue that there are programs where you go get your credentials evaluated. That's a whole long process, but somehow, no matter what you do, they will still want you to get some sort of education here in America to make your paperwork more valid for these big companies to trust you to work in your capacity or within your field. But long story short, for the most part, most African degrees are not recognized here in America. So, which means you will start all the way from the bottom. You go to factories, you look for 9-to-5 job, like blue collar type job that you will be awarded here when you come to America. Then you realize when you get that very first paycheck, it might, it might surprise you a little bit. And you go, oh snap, I ain't never seen a paycheck like this before. At least that's how I felt as a 19-year-old when I first moved to the United States, right? I got my first job, I was working at a slaughterhouse. I shared that story with you before. And I got my very first paycheck back then, which was like, I believe it was a $350 in 1 week. I was like, holy moly, I had never seen nothing like that. I'm like, oh crap, if I just hold it down and I stop complaining, how I spend extended amount of hours standing there working, but if I keep getting these checks, I might be able to make something work with this, right? So, but then you buy your car. You have to make payments on the car. That $300 that you were making is knocked back down to like, let's just say $270, right? Then you have to pay insurance for your car. It goes back down to like $190, right? And then you got a cable bill or internet bill or whatever it is that you enjoy yourself, your entertainment. And you down probably, let's say $70 or $60. Just like, oh, so I have to keep working, right? To get this money, pay all these bills, and find myself left with $60. So that's just one example that I give. I'm not saying that that's the reality of every Africans here living here in America, but I wanted to throw that out there so you guys get an idea of what it is that Africans go through, even including themselves. But I'm not going to talk about no other group of people here in this live stream but Africans, because this is about Africans. I'm talking about continental Africans that moved from the continent of Africa to America, right? For quote unquote opportunities or whatever the case may be. Some people immigrated to America for security, purposes, for safety reasons. They came here as refugees or whatever, right? So when they realize that a year goes by, they go, oh, maybe when I get my raises and I start making more money, it'll get better. And then you get your raise, you start making more money, and then you realize it's still not getting any better. Now you feel as though, okay, I gotta get a second job. Then when I get a second job, I have to, I might be able to pull this off. Then you get your second job, you start working harder, and then you physically, it starts to affect you physically when you need a good insurance plan. So when you're sick, you go to see a doctor and the doctor takes care of it. You get your medical bill that's probably half of your salary. Then when you pay medical bill, you find yourself back from the starting points, and it is a cycle. So a lot of Africans are seeing that, and then they realize that the American dreams that they so advertise worldwide, that if you come to America, automatically your life gets better, it is a fairy tale. Now Africans are waking up to the reality. They realize, oh crap, with the little bit that I'm making here, if I create a saving account where I can put money away for a certain amount of years, I can go back to Africa, build me a beautiful home, start a little business, and live my best life, right? So when people realize that's the case, now they're like, oh, maybe where I came from were better all along. Because we need to understand that not all Africans from the continent want to move here to America to start over or to live a better life. No, not all of them. Some of them do want to because that is the only option that they have. Understand that there are a lot of Africans who are so wealthy that moving to America is an insult to them. Why? What is it that America is going to offer them that they don't already have or possess? And that's the sort of things that most people don't talk about, right? A lot of people don't talk about this, but when Africans come here, they get these basic things that we are looking for. Housing, food, and everything else. They got the same thing back in Africa, including me. I wasn't starving to death. I didn't have a place to, it's not like I was homeless. I grew up from, my parents had it. Let's just say that we were comfortable, okay? I went to private schools. I, was dropped off at school by my dad's chauffeur, and I've just lived a better life. Only that the Congolese government didn't really promote youth and create opportunities for the younger generation. That led someone like me to move to America to look for those opportunities, but only to find that those opportunities, it's nothing that we thought it would be. But I'll get to that later as the video evolves, right? So most Africans, they will realize that they're not really living the best life that they thought that they would when they come here to the United States. Now they want to pack their stuff and go back. But that is a problem also. You can't just pack your stuff and go back to Africa, right? You have to make it so that when you move back, you don't have to come back here to America again to go back to work. So you have to take your time. So now it becomes a process. It's another transition, because it was a transition moving from Africa to America, right? You had to leave a lot of things behind. Some people even sold their homes thinking that when they move here, life will be better. Now you start from the scratch. Now you realize that in this society, there are also dues that you need to pay. There are taxes that must be taken out of your paycheck every single time you get paid. You don't even get to see all that money, that the money just gets taken out of your account before even it gets to you. And then you realize that, oh snap, when at the end of the year, I got to file my taxes through IRS. The IRS take its portion depending on how much money you're making. Now people are seeing that, and they wonder, like, what is it that about America? We came here, and 10 years later, you're the same person, only you've gotten older. American dreams, let's just address this issue. It exists for billionaires and multimillionaires, people who are already wealthy in America, who take advantage of the people through government regulations that make it easier for them. But regular or ordinary people like me and you, who are working families, we are paying taxes a lot more than these billionaires are. So this is the system here in America. But depending on the reason you move to America for, Some people, it may be a good fit for them and they never want to go back to Africa. But someone like me personally, I didn't come from misery. Okay. I I grew up with this what you call bourgeoisie, right? And we had cars, we had properties. My dad ran multiple businesses, bars, hotels, right? Tractor trailer company at one point, farms. He was into a lot of things. So someone like me coming to America, it wasn't looking for shelter or looking for better opportunities. Those were provided to me. And when my dad passed, he left all of this behind. But I'm the type of person that I don't rely on what someone else has built. Yeah, I understand I'm a heir. When my father left for us, I have I have legitimate reason to claim it. When that time comes and they give me my share, I won't turn it down, right? It's all about the money. But will I go out of my way and, you know, be a couch potato, sit there and wait till it's time for me to get what my dad left behind for me without doing anything? Hell no. I'm going to be working to build my own wealth. So when it is time to get my share what my dad left behind, depending how the family get along, I won't turn it down or take my share, right? But in meantime, I am doing what's best for me. So that brings me to my own personal life, where I lived here in this country for 12, it's about to be 13 years now. And I've learned a lot. One thing I've learned, no matter how much money you make, when I first came to America, I started working at slaughterhouse, my first job I had, and then eventually I got a job at a warehouse where I was a forklift operator for almost 5 years. And then while I was going to college doing criminal justice, I'm like, you know what? I want to get into law enforcement. I did that, put myself through the academy. I graduated. Here I am. I'm in law enforcement field. I'm making probably 3 times more than what I was making then. Has my life gotten better? Somehow. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm driving a Honda Civic, okay, that I paid 4,500 bucks straight. I didn't want to get a loan because before that I had a Honda Sonata that 2015 that I recently paid off. It's probably 6 months ago. I paid it off already. No. It's almost a year ago. I'm tripping. It's been almost a year since I paid that car off, right? But I said no, and no. I'm in a position where financially I'm able to afford, maybe I'll say $60,000 vehicle. But just because I'm able to, it doesn't mean I have to. I have to be smart because I'm prioritizing things that I know it'll bring something back to me, rather than making stupid decisions because I want people, right, to see me driving a brand new vehicle from the dealership, rather than investing that money somewhere. So eventually, years down the road, I don't have to come back and complain about my life one more time again. That's something that a lot of Africans living here in America seems to be doing. All right. I want to put myself in that position. That's why I'm doing everything in my power, everything I can, so that I make my life better. Don't be surprised when Africans come here, they live their life, and then they retire to Africa. Number one, culture is another thing that we need to consider. Most Africans, they don't want to be put in the nursing homes, and it's not even our culture there. You know what I'm saying? Because in Africa, when your grandmother is unable to take care of herself anymore, she's moving with you. You taking care of her till she dies, right? At least that was the case with before my grandmother passed. So when she reached probably 80, she was probably like 85 5 when she died. But like when she was approaching her 80th birthday, her health just collapsed. Like a lot of things weren't working well. She was unable to take care of herself. And then my mom is like, all right, now you can't live by yourself anymore. You will have to move in with me. Then we'll take care of you, right? So my grandmother eventually moved in with us. My mom took care of her. She lived another 7 years with us before she passed away. Peace to her soul. We wouldn't want to put her where some people, some strangers that we don't know, taking care of her. At least that's how Africans are, right? So when Africans come here and they see that, like, oh man, if I get to this age, I'm isolated away from everybody else and I have to be put in a home and people that I don't even know taking care of me, even though I'm paying them. So basically all the money you've worked your entire life hard for, you reach a certain age when you become a senior citizen, unable to take care of yourself, you'll move out of your house. They put you in nursing homes where you'll be giving you medications because you become a care dependent, right? Someone has to take care of you 24/7. So now all the money that you're making, all those social security checks now are going into the nursing home to basically take care of you. If you get lucky, you may get your kids coming by to visit you, but they also have jobs. They also got to pay bills. So they're not going to be visiting you every time unless they're bums. They don't have nothing to do. They don't have jobs. They didn't have time to come and visit you. But how that's not even going to work here in this country? If you ain't got a job, you don't have no money to even afford an Uber. You don't even have no money to even put gas in your car to drive somewhere to go visit somebody else. That's real talk. Let me grab this comments real quick. Explore America said, I don't have cable after I pay my bills. I have nothing and I'm white. Oh man, I'm glad got a white person in the building speaking our truth, because I watch a lot of YouTube channels out there when they talk smack and they act as if they know it all. You know what I'm saying? And they are not even whites. But we have a white person in the building speaking the truth. Let me tell you something. That right there explains a lot. And I really thank you for that comment. And it'll probably teach a lot of people who think that coming to this country is bread and butter, that you will never need to go anywhere else. If you get here, that's it. It's a paradise. That's the end of it. Bullshit. In case you didn't know, maybe you'll learn the hard way. You can come here, sell everything that you've ever worked hard for in Africa prior to moving here, and find out the hard way. Let me get the second comment here real quick. Bro, I live in Africa. It's horrible if you don't like America. Leave. Oh, so let me tell you something. Let me tell you this. So if you were listening, right, to live stream, what did I just say? Allah wants to move back, right? But you just can't move back. You just can't. I don't want to move back to Africa and having to go back to my mom's house. I don't want to live with my mom no more. And guess what? I own 2 residential properties that I'm currently building, including a farmland. So I'm a person who's working. So when you say it's horrible, I don't know what your system, what your current system, and what your current condition is. What family you come from. I don't know if you come from a poor family. Not that I come from a rich family, but I don't consider ourselves rich or poor. We're comfortable. My dad sent all of us to school. We all have college degrees, right? So I went to one of the most prominent private schools in Kinshasa, right? So I got my degree. I went to college before I came to the United States of America. So when you say it's horrible, you have to be more specific. How is it horrible? What do you mean when you say it's horrible? Are you living through the streets? You don't have a place to stay? Are you hungry every day? You don't have food on your table? Is that what you're talking about? You have to be more specific, right? So let's go down here real quick. Complaining about hospital bills when hospitals don't work here. That's a good one, right? Let me tell you something. When you go to urgent care, at least like coming from Africa, right? From Congo, Like when you have a medical emergency, you go to urgent care, right? You really you can tell I'm in an urgent care. Like people are right there taking good care of you. They IV, whatever. Urgent care, listen. I was taken to an urgent care before where I was literally like like sick, very, very sick. That was probably the only time ever I was sick here in America. And we get there, these people are worried about collecting my insurance company, my health insurance info, rather than putting me in a hospital bed and start giving me preliminary, aid or whatever. I'm like, Jesus Christ, somebody can literally die. I remember being held, right, by my friend who took me to the hospital. Back then it was my roommate, right? We were roommating together. So all I remember him, let me get this microphone, holding me while they trying to collect the insurance information from me. So basically he was doing everything for me while we were there at the front desk. So they didn't care about how I felt. They cared about collecting insurance information. They could have gotten it on the hospital bed because I had it in my pockets on my wallet, right? So they're worried more about that rather than giving you aids. But in Africa, when they take you down in urgent care, I mean, you don't have to have the whole amount with you. The little bit that you bring there, they will take you there. I mean, if you're unable, because like these scandals, like these things, scandals, it happens where somebody was sick, he goes to the hospital, they are unable to pay hospital bills, and they get stuck in the hospital. There have been reports of those things happening. It does happen. I ain't gonna lie about that. All right, but at least they giving you the care that you went there for. But here, trust me, every nationality here in the United States is thriving except one, and they tend to be the ones to complain the most because they don't try. Let me tell you something. I may have an idea what he's talking about, but hey, it is what it is. You can't pretend to live in America, and no matter how long you're lying to your people when you came from Africa, or and another thing, one piece of advice that I'm giving people as well is that, let me tell you something. If you got family members living in America, don't be fooled by their social media. They post when they go to a restaurant, they snap a picture of a meal that they ordered, and they go to a place, they film themselves, and they share that with you on social media. Trust me, those things are misleading. The real reality is when you come here, right? Then you'll get to see it for yourself. Then you'll be like, oh, wow, it ain't really what I thought it would be, huh? And then you will learn more. But if you are depending on what people are posting on their social media, when you move here, the reality is totally different. I have a perfect example of that specifically. I have a friend who's always on social media, posting, wearing makeups, wearing all sort of, female stuff. She posts on her Instagram, on her social media, constantly. And she has friends from Africa who see those posts. They're like, oh my God, like she's living her best life. I got to move to America. She got one of her best friends moved from Congo, right? She moved in with the lady doesn't live too far from me. So when she got there, she barely spent time with her because she was always working. When she came home, everybody was asleep. She was tired, and then she has to work up very early the next morning to go back to work again. And now her friend just started asking her questions. So like, how did you make your life seem so precious on social media when while I'm here, all I see you is waking up super early, going to work, and coming back all super tired, unable even to go out? You know what she told her? She said, don't fall for what social media is selling you. And that's exactly what got a lot of people to even move here in the first place. Social freaking media. These things are going to mislead you and have you believe that if I leave everything behind, I come to American dream, everything is going to be 10 times better than it has ever been before I moved here. Good luck with that. I'm glad that I came in this country as a 19-year-old. I lived with my parents my entire life before I moved to America. Now I had a job. I was working and I was paying bills, chipping in with, people, friends that I live with until I was able to get my own spot and living my own life separate away from everybody else. Now I learn better and I get to compare my upbringing, like the difference between my time as an African kid living with his parents and an independent African man living here in America, because I'm making my own money, I'm paying my own bills. I don't have nobody helping me with bills whatsoever. So I learn and I know, and seeing these opportunities after traveling back and forth multiple times in the past 3 years in Congo, and that's even how I started my pig farm. I bought my land, I'm building an apartment, because eventually when I moved to Congo, I moved back to Africa, I don't have to rely on staying at someone else's place or paying to stay at this flat hotels. I want to be able to live in my own spot to eliminate the rent, right? Number one. And number two, I want to have a residual sort of income. So when I am on there, I have something coming in, right? Financially. Because people get it wrong. You may easily survive off of $1,000 in Kinshasa. That's a whole lot of money over there, right? If you don't rent, you own your own home, and you are able to bring in at least $1,000 a month. There are people that bring a lot more than that, but I'm just giving you the minimum. You will live so much better versus someone who's making like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 here in America. They're still struggling. You know what I'm saying? With the inflation, the high cost of living, everything else is falling apart. So people are not understanding it. The American dream does not exist for working people, for working family. American dreams only exist for the billionaires and multimillionaires. Let that sink in, okay? Don't be fooled by what they tell you. I'll tell you one thing. You live in Africa, right? Not all Africa is jungle, because the first thing that comes through a lot of people's mind when they talk about Africa is jungle. Even when you go to Google, you just type in life in Africa, the pictures that you will get is so astonishing. They're not going to show you pictures like in Johannesburg downtown. They're not going to show pictures of Cape Town. They're not going to show pictures of Addis Ababa. They ain't going to show pictures of Casablanca. They ain't going to show pictures of Lubumbashi, Goma, all of these amazing cities in the continent of Africa. That's not the first thing that will come up on Google, right? But if you go ahead on Google, type in life in America, the first thing that comes through, you will see pictures of people living their best life around Times Square in New York. And that's the thing, they mess it with your mind. And when you come here, trust me, all of the Google pictures that you see when you typing something on Google, it's not the reality that you come to here in America. Something that you got to keep in mind. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of Africans would rather move back to Africa after working here their entire life, because after a certain age, if you have to be placed to a facility where they take care of you because you're a senior citizen, you isolated from the rest of the world. It actually accelerates your death, because you won't have nothing to entertain you anymore. You will just die much faster. But in Africa, we live collectively. You have grandchildren running around. You have people around you that support you. They take good care of you, and you will live even longer. And the American money that you bring there, it goes far. You live your best life. So me being 32, I'm working so hard. So by the time I reach age 40, I don't want to be working for anybody else. And again, by the time I reach that age, I want to be able to say that I can pack my stuff and move to Africa, and I'll still be comfortable, and I'll still be good and live my best life. That's my objective. Life exists everywhere, just not here in America. America is a great country. It's got a positive side to it, and it also got a negative side and dark history to it. Where I come from is not better. but I can make it better for myself. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm headed to work already. It's time for me to head in and throw my gear on, ready for duty, right? So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Make sure to hit the like button, share this live stream with a friend, and yeah, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think and what your life is really like. Share that with us. We will really appreciate it. Until the next one, I'll see you guys soon. Peace out. Happy Saturday.